PGMOL is a joke. There's no way in this world you'll sack somebody. Of course, it's not sacking, but I'm just saying there's no way in this world you'll sack somebody for doing their work. There's no way in this world you are going to caution somebody for doing their work. Unless there's a thing beneath it. I want like, let's, no, operating like an African politician. Hey, we are building a road, but you know what? We are cutting 80%. So you work with the 20%. When you find the engineers work with the 80%, you're bad. That's how I see this whole PGMOL issue. Because if the referee is making the correct decision, why are you coming in just because the other people were angry, the pundits were angry, to caution him, to, you know, make him step back from managing, officiating other games? You know, we have been to America with this Club World Cup thing, and now I think you are managing this Premier League like it's a Grammy. Like it's not about what is being performed on the pitch. It's not about who's scoring the most. It's not about who's fouling the most. It's not about who's pushing people down the most. It's about what are the people talking about? What are the pundits talking about? Who's doing this? Who's doing this? Which essentially, at some point, if we continue in the same trajectory, at some point it will be like the pundits wants Liverpool to win the league. Now, let's give Liverpool the win, despite of how many points they have gotten, despite of how many teams they have beaten. If the pundits once says, you know, Arsenal has stayed for so long without the Premier League, why don't we, as the football community, the loudest football community, agree to give Arsenal the trophy? Then PGMOL just calls in the referee and says, you know, this week the Arsenal fans and the entire football world wants us to give 3 points to Arsenal. And then they decide, let's give these 3 points to Arsenal. Because I think that's what has been happening for quite a number of reasons. I remember this point. I think there's a video online. I was just so, I think I'm not doing this thing correctly. I should be pinning this video for those people who haven't seen. When Mourinho was saying that the PGMOL, I don't know if it was called that in that time, has been putting referees on pressure to go against Chelsea, because if we win, if there's any mistake, if they make an officiating rule that supports Chelsea, there's a lot and a lot and a lot of pundits who are usually talking, putting pressure on the referees to an extent that a referee goes into the game knowing that if I make a call that angers this other team and it's a, you know, it's for Chelsea. If I make a call that it's for Chelsea, I'll get, the brute end of the words from the pundits, from the other referees, from the other, Newcastle legend, Man United legend, like a lot and a lot and a lot. And to some extent, I feel bad for the referees. I've been blaming them. I've been blaming them for all these calls they have been making. I've been blaming them for all these calls that they have been making against us. I have seen a lot of games. I have seen us, that semi-final with Man City, that final was it semi-final or final with Leicester, final with Liverpool. I have seen all those decisions and I was wondering, like, when will it stop? When will it stop? And those were just recently, from time back. And in my previous video, I said, like, we have to start calling us a big team. You have to call us, like, like we are going to win this Premier League. We have to make sure people understand that we are going for this Premier League, so that it doesn't come as a surprise. Because when we win a game and it's a surprise, a lot of people are wondering, like, why are we winning the games? But all these other teams, especially when they're bad, When Arsenal was bad in the first game, they still won the game, and I didn't see anybody coming claiming that this and this and this and this. It has been that way. When Liverpool were bad at some point, even with lucky calls and lucky, penalties sometimes, they still won the game. It just happens that for us to win a game, for us to prove to people that we have won a game, we have to beat them like 3-0, like PSG. Like we have to clobber them in first half so that they feel they are fearful of coming in the second half to play. That's how I think the pundits wants us to keep winning every other game. When we fight for a win, it disturbs them. It makes them feel afraid. It makes them think that we are not supposed to win these games and we are not supposed to win this Premier League. But we have to win. I have to make sure I remind people every day. If you are an Arsenal fan, if you are a Liverpool fan, if you are a Man United fan, you have to hear it that this year there's nothing stopping us. Like we have the squad, we have the coach, and we can win even when we are not playing well. We can win. We can do whatever Liverpool does better. We can do whatever Arsenal does better. I'm just sure that if we start playing the dark arts that Arsenal were playing right now, especially right now, we'll be getting red and yellow because you know how this decision will hurt us. It's the same thing that has been happening. It's where a referee comes into a game and feels like if he calls a decision and it's on our side, like he's being weighted there with angry words, like everybody out there is out, like, and you can check out every big talk spot. It's just Man City, eh, former players, Arsenal former players, Man United former players, who's there that has been for Chelsea, who's even Obi Mikel had to start his YouTube because he can't get any, there's no any Chelsea pundit out there. And that's one of the reason why there's no anybody who has the voice who keeps talking about Chelsea and people are listening to him. And that's why I think you should subscribe to me. If I get, I'll be so biased for Chelsea. Just imagine I have 1 million subscribers from all over the world. Like, if this thing happens, I'll be here. I will not be letting a lot of people just trashing Chelsea, just making sure the referees are afraid of calling calls for Chelsea. No, I'll be here because I thought yesterday, I think that Fulham, that Chaloba being stepped on was not the biggest miss by a referee. There were several misses by a referee. Even today, in the games that are continuing, I'm so sure there'll be a more severe, misofficiating by a referee. But just because it is Chelsea, there's so much noise everywhere. This has to stop. This needs to stop. Subscribe.